Welcome everyone to this virtual cabinet webinar. We've called it Hidden Gems, and we're hoping to show you a few little bits on virtual cabinets, things that have been there for a while and people basically don't know exist. Before we start, everyone is on mute, so if you do have any questions, please put them in the chat box or question box and we'll monitor those as we go on. And also, we will send a recording of this out to everyone, and you can make it available to yourselves and to your team as well. Before we get started, I should introduce myself. I'm Ken Byrne. I'm the account manager here at Virtual Cabinet, and I'm joined today by one of our consultants.
Hi, yeah, I'm James. I've been working at Virtual Cabinet for the last 5 years with new clients, existing clients, working through different problems. And yes, I'm excited to be here.
We have expanded our marketing team within Virtual Cabinet, so please do follow us on LinkedIn and Twitter and all those kind of things as well. We've also noticed actually a drop off over the last while for people not receiving marketing information from us. If you do want to update your email preferences, if you do want to hear about us, we promise we only send interesting information. Please email Sophie Lowe. Her email address is there. And as I said, if you keep an eye on those social media feeds, we'll be posting things on there very regularly. So today's agenda, I'll just run through it briefly. We're actually going to show you some little hidden gems in indexing. So people from time to time get into basically old habits and find long ways to index things, and hopefully we can speed that up for you. Similar way with searching. Some people are always asking us, the best way, the most efficient way to work, and we'll cover some of those things as well. Tasks and document retention, they're both quite long areas, so we'll only just give you a very brief overview to show they exist, to show you what we can do with them, and we won't have enough time to go into them in too much depth today, but at least you'll see what's happening and what you can do. And then finally, definitely a hidden gem, there's a Discover tab within Virtual Cabinet, which is a great resource for lots of information. That's enough about the agenda, enough about me talking. Actually, let's see Virtual Cabinet in action.
So we're in Virtual Cabinet, so we're just going to run through some indexing. So we're going to look at how we can best index documents from the Office add-ins, the Virtual Cabinet hot folder, and we're going to look at the right-click menu in Windows to give you some flexibility on getting documents straight into Virtual Cabinet. So I'm actually going to minimize Virtual Cabinet now. There you go. Thank you. So if we open up our engagement letter, so we have an engagement letter here on the screen. So however you generate your engagement letters, be it from another bit of software, maybe you've copied it from another document, or we've done it from scratch, the quickest way to get this into Virtual Cabinet will be via the Virtual Cabinet indexing button at the top. So we've got our tab here, our indexing button up here. So this is pretty much your Save As button. So we're going to use this. So this will pop up the indexing screen. So every time you index a document from anywhere, we will get this indexing panel. So you can see there's many cabinets on the screen here. Obviously, this will vary from company to company, but we're going to focus on our client's cabinet here. So we're just going to press next. Then I'm going to fill out our indexes. So for this example, I'm just going to choose the top option, but you would pick the relevant section for your document. I'm going to type in the client name. And you see the description here has automatically populated the name. So it's quite common, I've seen, we grab this name from the original file name. So if this doesn't happen on your system, or you have to always type this in, just let someone on support know or speak to your account manager, and we get this set up to automatically pull through the name. That saves some time. And the final one here, we've got a red field here, which is mandatory, so the document date. So because I've created this document today, I'm just going to press the down arrow on the keyboard. Again, this is the quickest way to get today's date in. And that will populate all our fields. So before I press file, we just want to focus on the padlocks on the right hand side. So for those of you that don't know, we can actually save some information. So I'm going to padlock the section value so that we've got the padlock there. I'm actually going to padlock the client name. So potentially you may be doing a lot of work on one client, so it'll save you time typing in every single time. So we're going to padlock that in. Again, client code padlock. Description is going to be variable because we're going to be working with multiple documents, and I'm going to be saving most things with today's date anyway, so just for ease for today, I'm going to padlock that as well. And then you can see here we do have a file and action button. So this we'll see out in a while when we use tasks. You can actually save a document and then you can file it and start a task, but we'll come back to that later. I'm just going to press file now. So this document has now been well, is now saving into virtual cabinet. So you can see at the top, the add-in should change, which it has. So our status now says it's in virtual cabinet. Quite easily, we can just click on the document and it will get prompt to edit the document. So a lot of people panic when they open it in read-only mode. We can go to edit mode quite easily by just clicking that button, make a change. So we change that to 21, and then we can just quite easily close the document. Virtual cabinet will step in. Do you want to save the new changes? Yes, we do. And that will update to the new version of virtual cabinet. So we always hold previous versions. You can always go back to previous versions. So that was the Office add-ins. The next thing we're going to look at is the hot folder. So you can see here, it will always exist on your desktop. So we're going to actually open a PDF. But you may be generating a PDF from another bit of software. Potentially you might be downloading a form online, maybe converting a Word and Excel document to PDF. But they all have the same thing in common. So that is when we go to save it, we go to save as.
Sorry, just to clarify, this document is outside virtual cabinet at the moment.
Yeah.
It has been saved into virtual cabinet.
Exactly. So we're looking to save this as quick as we can into virtual cabinet. So at this save as screen, we want to click our desktop, scroll to the bottom, and you should always have a virtual cabinet hot folder there. So we can double click, give it a name, press save, and then virtual cabinet should be monitoring that hot folder. So it'll be looking now, it's popped up and it said, we found our document, where would you like to save it? So we can send it to an in tray, somebody else's in tray, but we're going to be focused on the index. So we're going to save it directly into the cabinet. Like I said, we're trying to do it as fast as possible. And this will pop up again with the indexing options. So again, we're going to focus on the client's cabinet, press next. And now you can see, because we padlocked all that information, we don't have to type it in again. So maybe we actually do want to change this, but everything else will stay the same with the client. The description has changed because the name of the document is different. The date has stayed the same. So we can press file, and that will file it again straight to virtual cabinet using the hot folder.
Sorry, James, could you just index that document again? Because the questions come through and I'd like to ask it to you. So if you want to start indexing it.
Yeah, so a different way we can index that is we can just drag and drop anything into the hot folder. And it doesn't have to be a PDF, it can be anything really. So I'm just going to drag and drop that into the hot folder. Again, it's going to pop up saying, what would you like to do with the document? So we're going to index it.
So the question that's come in is that someone said in the original file name, sometimes when clients receive documents from their clients, or sometimes when it's been scanned, etc., the original file name is not very clear. There might be a lot of junk in it. Can you just show about that?
Yeah, so in the description, we can overtype this. So you're right, with the original file name, we pull that through. In some cases of scanning, it might come through with a horrible name. So we can just overtype that. So we could type, I don't know, tax documents. So yeah, feel free to overtype that, press file, and that will save it with that description.
Okay, thanks, that's great.
Perfect. So the final thing we look at with indexing will be the Windows right-click menu. So if we right-click in any document, so this can be on your desktop, in a Mac drive, we can use the send to option here, and you have the same three options. So we've got send the document to my in tray, send it to another in tray, and again, we've got the virtual cabinet index, which we want to use. Obviously, you've seen it now twice, so I'm not going to run through that again. But the key thing here is if we've got multiple documents, we can highlight all the documents in a file, right-click, and you get the same menu here.
Okay, and actually, a question's come in. I'll answer it myself, which is fine. Someone said, you know, if a document came in through Outlook, for instance, on their emails, can they use the hot folder? Absolutely, you can grab a document from anywhere, as James said, and just drop it into the hot folder, drop it in your in tray, or index it directly into virtual cabinet. Obviously, there is, what I wanted to say though on that is there is an add-in for Outlook as well, which allows you to save your documents. And actually, on the Discover tab, there's videos, links to that as well.
We'll come to that at the end. Yeah, but the main thing here is just knowing that the send to option exists. It's very common that people forget that. Okay, so the next part was searching.
Yeah, so what we see in a lot of times in client sites is people actually get quite lazy, for want of a better word, in searching. They just stick in a client name, hit search, return 1,000 documents or 5,000 documents, and then scroll up and down looking for documents. So James is just going to show you a few quick tips to be able to search much more effectively.
Yeah. Okay, so as Ken said, it is very common for multiple thousands of documents to come back, but I would still type in the client name. So it's very important that we type in the client name here, but we also want to start using these extra indexes. So for example, I'm going to choose the section value at the top and just press search here. So a mixture of the client name and the section value has pulled back, what we're looking, pull back 34 documents. So potentially in different clients, that may be 340, maybe even 3,000 documents. So we need ways of narrowing this down. So we can use the keyword. So a lot of people don't understand how this works. So what happens when we type a word in here, it will actually run this word through all the indexes on the left-hand side. So it's not just searching description, it's searching the client name, the accountancy document type, the original file name, anywhere the word tax appears in the data, it will appear. So we're just going to press search on that now. And you can see here that it has narrowed down the search from, like I said, potentially 300 to maybe 20 or 2 documents here. So I guess the tip here is using the combination of these 3 fields, you can really narrow down what you're looking for. So not only is it important to search for things quickly, but we need to see the data in an efficient way. So hopefully, you remove that, yeah. So yeah, we'd see our documents in a kind of a nice user-friendly view, I guess. So to do that, we can right-click headings. So you can feel free to add, remove anything you wish that's useful to you. We can add, so the one I want to show you is checked out by user. So I've already switched this on, but what this can do is it shows you who is in the document. So you can see here, these red documents have been edited. So I'd probably recommend switching this on if you don't have it. You can see who is in the document. You can put it anywhere in your view. So maybe you want to move it, maybe it's really important to you because it happens a lot, you can put it right at the front. If it maybe happens only a few times, you can shift it to the other side.
Sorry, and another question popped in, and I'll answer it now while I disturb James, which is this view is individual to you. So it's your view. So it doesn't matter if someone else in the organization prefers different fields to be displayed. And when you make these changes, when you get out, when you get back into this area, it will be exactly the same. So we'll remember them as well.
Exactly that. So just going back to the searching, another thing people do miss, and it's quite useful, is the filters. So these are really strong and really get you to your document very quickly. And these do focus on the heading that you're using. So for example, description, we could type in the word tax, and it will filter just on the word tax only in the description. So that's the difference between the top one and this one. And it's not only description, you can do it across any of the headings here. So if we were to remove the section value, search on that, we could actually type in the filter across the section value. So for example, here we could type general, start typing the word general, and it would filter for all the general correspondence. So it's entirely up to you how to use that. So the final thing we look at with searching and the views is the actual preview. So for example, we've clicked the document here. On the right-hand side, we can see we've got a preview of the document. Most people do like that, but if you don't, you can turn it off using the views at the top right. So potentially you may have a smaller screen or you don't need to use it, you can switch it off, but I would recommend turning it on. So as you're scrolling through your file, you can quickly see which documents you're opening.
Thanks, James. Can you just go back to the filter on the top, because someone's asked, can you use it in multiple places at multiple times?
So you can. So we can type in the word, for example, accounts here. That will filter for just the accounts. You can see we have everything with the word accounts, and then we can use it on the description, and we can type engagement, for example, and that will filter for engagement there. So you can use it on both. Yeah.
You can use it multiple times across multiple columns.
You can. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at will be tasks.
Yeah, so over the last while, we've seen a huge uptake in people using tasks in Virtual Cabinet. I know a lot of practice management systems have tasks as well. But what we see in the real world out there is that lots of people have documents they create or sets of documents to create, and they need to get them approved by a manager. Sometimes they take them out of Virtual Cabinet, save them to a shared area, and that shared area then they ask someone to go in and look at it, or you know, on your S drive or Q drive or V drive, or they email someone, etc. So tasks within Virtual Cabinet can be used to get documents approved. Lots more complicated ones, but we'll start with that simple example.
Yeah. So that what we're going to do is we're going to take our tax return and computation here. So we're going to highlight them both by using the control key, right click, and we're going to send them as a task internally. So maybe someone in the business has generated these, needs to send them to a director, a partner to get them approved. We can use the virtual cabinet task. So we need the document approval task. As you see, we've got a list of tasks here, and then we're going to assign it to the person who needs to approve it. So in this example, it's easier to demo if we just send it to ourselves. So we'll be both sides of the task, but in practice, you would pick the person you want to send it to. And then we can type a little comment. So please approve and press OK. So behind the scenes now, these two documents have been sent in tasks. Everyone in the system can still access these documents, open them, edit them, do what they want with them. But if we go to our in tray, you'll see we have a new task in our in tray. So in the middle tab, we have a taskbar. We click on that. You can see here we've got our approval. Where has it gone? Ooh, which one is it? Is it that one? Maybe it's not come through. Ah, here it is. So it's come through now. So if we double click, that will open up the task window. That's on the other side. So I can track that over. Okay, so we've got our two documents here. So you can see all the indexing is present here. We can right click. We've got the full right click menu. So if someone's having a look, they can edit it, open it. They can re-index it. Anything you can do in the search screen, you can do in the task. We've got our comments at the bottom. We've got the workers at the top. We've got the created date, priorities, everything like that. The most important part is the top left. So we've got approve and reject for this task. So in this example, they're going to approve the work, and that will automatically go back to the person who created the task. It'll take a few seconds to come through, and there it is. So it's come straight through. If we double click, this is where we get confirmation. So we've sent that for approval. It's come straight back. Document has been approved. We can again check the comments if anything needs to be done. We can highlight both the documents. So this is the part where we've got approval. We can right click. We can then email, send by Work Hero, potentially publish to the portal. So all these things we can do to get them out of the business. And then once we're finished, press done, and press OK. And that task will now disappear and now be part of the report.
So yeah, so on the reports, James will just pull them up there while I kind of fill in a few details. There is a full set of management reports on tasks to show you who's doing what task, what state it is in, what ones are overdue, and there's also a full set of reports on completed tasks, so who's done them in the past, etc. There's also statistics on them on how fast they're being approved and that kind of stuff. And as I said at the start, this is totally agnostic to any system, any practice management system, but also it doesn't have to be for client documents. It may be internal documents. It may be something to do with invoicing. It may be something to do with something else internally as well. And they don't have to be, someone has asked this question as well, so they don't have to be really simple document approval tasks. It may be a set of processes where I grab some documents, they need to go to one department for to be edited, to be added to, then they need to go to someone else. We can build those processes for you within your organization as well.
Yeah, and just another kind of hidden gem, I guess, would be the filters on the reports. So not only is it in the search screen, but you can use filters on the reports. Again, that's really quick. You can type in a client name and it'll filter just as we've done before. Okay, so the next one will be document retention. Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, so document retention, we built the document retention section in virtual cabinets. Actually, we built it around when GDPR was there, so people could be GDPR compliant. And actually, it's very powerful. We can go all the way up to automatically destroying documents over a certain age, over a certain criteria that you give to us. And we don't have to do that as well. So that's one side of the document retention to help you become GDPR or maintain your GDPR compliance. The other part of document retention, though, is actually adding some extra cabinets and some extra fields that allow you to be more efficient in your searching and allow you to keep your virtual cabinet nice and neat. As an example, you can have an ex-client cabinet. So if there's some way of marking a client as an ex-client, you're no longer acting for them in your practice management system, we can generally monitor that. When you tick that box in your practice management system, we take the documents in virtual cabinet and move them to ex-client. That's just one example as well.
Yeah, exactly that. So there's the three main, what I've seen working with many clients is the three main fields people use for document retention will be information within a third-party database. So if a client becomes no longer acting, we can look at that and be quite clever with that and move documents out of the client's cabinet, maybe into an ex-client area. Then we can look at the date of documents. So if something's 7 years old, we can move it to an archive. Then potentially after 10 years, we can destroy it. And the third thing we can look at is the section value. So maybe permanent documents are not, you don't want them to be destroyed. We can look at them, ignore them. So between those three bits of information, we can be quite clever. So I guess if that's something you're interested in, speak with support, speak with your account manager, and we can get that done.
Yeah, and the other thing is, sometimes with companies that have been with us for quite a while, they discover that they have lots and lots of documents. So even when they do a refined search, like some of the hidden gems that James was talking about, they still may produce 1,000 documents or 5,000 documents. Typically, generally, people, when they're looking at documents, want to look at maybe this year's and last year's or over the last 3 years, and they don't need to see documents 7 years old every time they do a search. So we can set up cabinets that would take a document and move it to maybe every document over 5 years old, move it to one cabinet, and maybe a document every 10 years old. All this is fully consulted with you, so we will actually fit that to whatever requirements you have within your organization. It's full consultative with you. We don't just turn it on and run away, so we will always be able to help you and maintain you on the document retention.
Okay. So the final thing will be the Discover tab. So this is, well, had a discussion in the office, but this is what I think is generally the hidden gem virtual cabinet. I go back to clients time and time again, and everyone doesn't know this exists. So I'm just going to point out the three main points of this Discover tab. So the first one is the video library. There are many videos of all different features within Virtual Cabinet. It takes us to your YouTube channel. They're all about 5 minutes long. So feel free for anyone to go to click on that link, view the videos. Yeah, there may be some things in there to help you. The second thing, I think we've got some questions. We've got the Discover versions. So you can see down here, we've got upgrade now. So feel free to click that link. It will show you the different features of the new versions. It won't actually upgrade your system. I've had that question quite a lot. So yeah, feel free to click in here when you see a new version. It will give you all the latest releases, what we've fixed, what we've added, all new features. And the third one is the main one is our support team. So I'll pass you over to Kim.
Our support team are based in the UK. We don't outsource our support, and I would challenge anyone to find a better support team anywhere in the software industry. We get very, very good feedback on them. I'm actually looking at the window and I can see them all now, and actually I can see every single person's on the call, so don't call them just now. But really importantly, anyone in any of our organizations are allowed to contact support. So sometimes lots of people in organizations filter it through one person to open a support ticket, but actually it's open to everyone. So if you want, you can click on the contact the team in the Discover tab. So what you can do from here is you can contact the support team, and you can drop them an email, or you can give them a call, and you can use it for anything. So if you've forgotten how to do something, or if you think something's not working right, or if you can't find the add-in that you're supposed to have, you can just ring support directly, and they can come along and jump in your system and fix it for you. And as I said, they're also there for advice. So if you said, hey, I heard something, or I'm saving this document, it doesn't seem to be working for me, they'll be able to give you advice on how to work it and use it as well.
Okay, so I think we've had a few more questions come in. So someone's asked about the add-in. So I think in order to answer that question, if you don't have the virtual cabinet option at the top of your screen, just contact our support and we can add that in. So in Word, Excel, Outlook, and PowerPoint, you should have a virtual cabinet add-in. So hopefully that answers that. The next one was sort of difference between a worker and a supervisor within the tasks. So the workers can only have access to their own tasks. Supervisors can have access to multiple people's tasks, so they have permission to access everyone in their team. So if you had, I don't know, a group of people sending tasks between them, the supervisor can use the reports to look at all tasks, whereas the worker will only have access to their own tasks. Someone said they don't have the task option. So this is something, again, if speak to your account manager, it is a feature in Virtual Cabinet that we need to switch on. So some people may have tasks, some people might not, but I would definitely recommend getting that switched on after speaking to your account manager, as you've just seen the efficiency.
Yeah, and good point. And we have some standard tasks like document approval and that kind of stuff, because they're quite straightforward. But every single one we will consult with you, and we'll organize and work out what that process needs to be, where that task needs to go, what person it needs to go to. If it's more complicated than just a 2-stage, it might be 3-4 stages. And also we work out what happens when you reject the document, what happens if someone makes a mistake, you need to add a document. We'll do all that. We'll set all those tasks up for you, and we will give you full training on them as well, both in using the tasks, but also in writing tasks as well.
Yeah. Another question was about the documents requiring to, do they require to be in the cabinet? So when you're sending documents in a task, the documents have to be in the cabinet. So you can't send a task from the in tray, it has to be from the cabinet, or any cabinet. Another question come through, does it state on the individual cabinet? So yes, so each document, I can actually show you this. So each document, so the question was, can you see the if a document is part of the task within the search screen? So to do that, you would right click and look at the audit. Each document has its own individual audit, and there is a tab within the audit that says process history. So we can quickly see this document was part of the task, and probably the main bit you'll be looking for is the document approval completed option here. So maybe a client has complained and you want to know, well, who approved it? Right click the document, click the process history, and you can see the audit in there.
Just on that as well, and we kind of briefly show this, but I'm happy to show it again, is that we have a full suite of reports on tasks, so you can see where the tasks are, who's using them, what those documents are in the tasks. All that kind of stuff is actually built into our reporting, both on the outstanding and the completed processes as well.
Okay, I think that is all. Is there any more questions? I don't think.
No, I think that's all the questions that have come in. Thank you very much for your questions and your comments. There is one question on the social media. I'll pass that on to our marketing team afterwards. I dared to try and answer it right now. The other thing, I'm glad we stuck this slide on because I always forget. Please check what version of Virtual Cabinet you are on. We have made changes to the security in Virtual Cabinet. We've improved that as well. And you really need to be on a version above 5.0. The current release version is 5.2. 5.3 is actually the version you're looking at right now, because I'm on the beta version of that. But if you're on any version below 5.0, you need to upgrade. Upgrading is free. You can do it yourselves. You can ask your external IT to do it, or if you want, you can book a time in with our support and we will do it in office hours. And as time goes on, we've improved how the upgrade happens, and now it's much faster than ever used to be. So you could work to do it in a lunch hour or maybe toward the end of the day. But please check your version of Virtual Cabinet and upgrade. Okay, a few more questions have popped in. We don't have enough time. We're not going to answer them now. We will pass all those questions on to the account managers as well afterwards. I'd like to thank James for his time and his effort, and thank you guys for your time. I hope this was useful. Thanks very much and take care.